Hey guys, it's Michael Todd and welcome to the Cult of Vintage. Today, you guys, we are back in Palmyra, Pennsylvania at one of my most favorite places to be. It is, I hope you're seeing it, Black Swan Antiques. Before we get inside, there is something that I would like to say, and it is this. Um, when I started the Cult of Vintage, I had only just started temporarily uh, getting into reselling. It was part-time at best. I was working a full-time job. I was a retail store manager. Um, and so for me, the Cult of Vintage really truly was supposed to be about vintage and antiques. It wasn't, I did not start this channel out to be a reseller channel. I very much considered myself to be a collector first, a lover and admirer of vintage and antique goods. And that's really how I approached the channel. All of that said, over time, I don't know that I ever made the active choice to turn the channel into a reselling channel. I will say that for me, that's really what it's become. I have of late, if you've watched the last two videos, have tried to kind of get back to my roots, if you will, by making the videos more about a tour and more about an experience. And yes, we buy stuff and we buy stuff for resale. Um, However, when it comes to the content, I really want to provide an experience. I want to provide a true shop along. I want to provide tours. Um, I want the videos, the content to be about exploration and about discovering and seeing new things and being able to share that experience with you, and also to have your knowledge on certain items that I see and I don't know what are, but I still admire them, and I get to read maybe further information or facts on the items in the content. That for me really is what I want the Cult of Vintage to be and to be about and to represent. Um, yes, I am now a full-time reseller. Yes, I do utilize this channel um, to help with my small business selling, reselling vintage and antique goods. But when it comes to the content, I don't want to be pigeonholed. I feel like I've really put myself into a box, and that box is kind of feeling less creative for me. Um, I want to be more than just a reseller on my content. I want this to be fun, and I want this to be as fun for as many people as possible. And I think really focusing on the tour and the experience versus buy, um, is really what I want this content to be. So all of that said, we're gonna get inside, we're gonna have a good time, we're gonna look at some beautiful things, some hopefully different things. Maybe we'll pick up some stuff, maybe we won't. And I hope, regardless of how much or how little I buy, for any of you that are watching this video, I hope that you can enjoy the experience. Let's get inside, guys. Alrighty, here we are on the exterior. So you are going to see a lot of black swans as we enter in. The namesake, the official mascot. There is our setup. Don't you love it? Welcome to the Swan. Kind of a little peeky peek there through the doors. Let's get inside and see what we can find, guys. Alrighty, guys, here we go to the interior, and the first thing up is this little, I don't know why I keep finding these little misfit toys on wheels of late. This is an interesting one. It is from Export Toys. I have never actually heard of this toy company. He's really cute, those little Google eyes. He was just fun to see. Up next, we do have a number of cases up front, and I will say here at Black Swan Antiques, the cases are just filled with smalls. There's just something that I really love and adore about smalls. It's just fun. It's a magical little world, and you kind of want to shrink yourself down and get inside and kind of explore around in there. So I love focusing on the cabinets. This piece was really interesting. The actual curio itself, I liked the shape of it. Now, it's kind of like an antique primitive, if you will. I think it's a reproduction. It's not, of course, original, though I do think it has a great look, and it is filled with some good stuff. Now, you do see this Epern here. It is a silver plate. It would be missing its little glass inserts there where you'd be able to stick your flower buds, but at $18, I don't think that's too bad. The likelihood of finding it looks like a total of 4 glass inserts might be a little difficult. Now, the vendor has this marked as jade. I do believe it is malachite. $18. I think it's a pretty good deal on it. When I was inspecting it a little bit closer, I did note that there was some chipping to it. Not that I think that that makes it valueless. I think $18 is a really good deal, but for that condition, I did leave it behind. Down below here, I don't know. I was having an extremely difficult time. There is a postcard back there, and it is a peacock, and they used actual peacock feathers. Now, it was priced at $12 for the single postcard. I don't think that that is actually a terrible price given the uniqueness of the piece. However, when I talk about getting something for resale, it does have to be lower. We do have these beautiful Italian iconography um, pieces here. The wooden here, you're seeing Madonna and Child there in the back. Can't quite see what the image is on the front. Down below, did see the little lead rams here. I think those are super cute and only $15. I don't think that's a horrible price. Moving on, as I said, I love the world of smalls. Just something very whimsical about it. Again, this is really about sharing an experience here today, and this is something that I definitely wanted to share, including the 3 little monkeys here. Hear, see, speak no evil. Those are really cute. But don't you just want to shrink yourself down and just kind of explore in there and get in there and have fun? Do see the little patchwork dog over here. He's adorable. Look at that expression on his face. He's saying he wants to get out up there. Like I said, you're going to see a lot of black swans throughout. Obviously, the namesake, so it's fun to see. We obviously have some more display cabinets here. Didn't see anything of great interest for me, but I wanted to capture it. You just never know. These, of course, are up front. Now, I did spot this piece here. It's really interesting. It almost looks like a dessert cup, if you will. Again, that silver plate with a little bit of a ruby red insert on there. It does appear to be of more of a contemporary, though I do believe vintage. Quite elegant. I can just see those set up at a Victorian party. They were bougie back in the day. This set is the dogwood flower. It is all hand painted with that gorgeous gold gilding on it. It is in pristine condition. It is $49 for this set of 3. Now, I gotta tell you, it's not going to be available for resale. I am sorry, but it's already been claimed. $49 for that set. Yep, we definitely picked that one up. It was a great deal. Richard claimed it. Truce out there. Alrighty, guys. This I thought was really interesting. I initially thought that the pieces were combined. However, they are separate pieces. I did see the 2 price tags there. We've got 28 for the little mercury balls, 23 for the mercury candle. I've actually sold some of the mercury candles like this before. Not a terrible price, but just not where I would need it to be. Oh, how I love you, Shown Hut. This is an antique toy company. The designer was out of Germany, though he did immigrate to the US and built toys out of Philadelphia, I do believe. All wood. I do believe this piece was repainted, but still a good deal. Oh, this jar of fun. Y'all know I love a junk jar, and this was just fit in the bill. I do have some smaller pieces, like some Cracker Jack prizes that I want to kind of fill it out a little bit more, and only $5. I picked it up. I think it's fun and whimsical. With that jar, you know what that means. The curse has been broken, and we are able to. And yes, I still actually do practice that. The curse has been broken, so we can get us a basket. Up next, I did spot this really interesting book. Again, when you want to look at books, always look for subject matter. It really does make a huge difference. Of course, author, illustrations. This is a 1925 illustration book, if I'm correct. Oh, 1915. Pardon me. However, it is the sixth edition. There is a little bit of separation here. It's still holding on, gosh darn it. Nothing that a little glue wouldn't fix, of course. Proper binding, acid free glue is what you would want to use. It's relatively simple. Fix at $14.99. I like this subject matter, so I am going to take it. This is a prime example of decision making. These books are all over so far as comps on eBay, as little as 15 up to 120. Do I value the book at more than $15? Do I think that it's a $30 to $45 book? I do. I don't necessarily know that it's a $120 book, so I do end up picking this piece up. I come to visit this book whenever I am here. This is The Savage World. That is a part of a series of books. I do have two of them. I would love to get this Savage book. Now, I did spot this one. It obviously is. Yikes. Yeah, it's got some condition. We're going to set it on the floor here to keep it safe. I don't want it that ripping on me anymore. We've got $11.99 on it. It's not terrible. You can see the marbling there on the side. It's seen its better day. It's still hanging on by its fingernails, but it's still hanging on. We have a couple of photographs, black and white photographs. I wasn't overly wowed by it. I will make an exception to poor condition if the interior is in really good condition. And quite frankly, sometimes even if the interior is a little rough, but the subject matter illustrations, they're on point, I go for it. Next up, we've got some light reflectors. This is a baggie of 24 for 25. These things have become very difficult and quite frankly very expensive to purchase. I use these for craft projects. If you're not familiar, I do light reflector flowers. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I turn these little doodads into flowers. So, good craft supply, I do pick those up. This booth had a lot of different things going on in it, and of course, we're going to start with the soapies. I was immediately taken by the Casper, the Friendly Ghost. It's one of my mother's most favorite. However, we resisted because she said she didn't want any more stuff. That was her words, not mine. And I just said, okay, we're going to stick to it. Below that, then, going from a soapy bottle to this stunning example of art glass. And I do believe this is an actual Murano piece of art glass. It is a beautiful free form with that rainbow color twist on it. This is a reproduction. Actually, it's just a knockoff. Let's just call it what it is. It's rather crudely painted. The paint on it is a matte, it's scratchy. The interior is off, the bottom marking is off. It just simply says Roseville versus Roseville, USA. So be wary. Gonna check out the rest of the booth, see if we don't find anything. And we do. These blue paisley. Now, you can almost tell immediately that these are a mid century reproduction by that gold sponging effect on it. Royal paisley. Never heard of it. Interestingly enough, for this set of two, we're going to get them for balancing act 18, making them $9 a piece. I love the pattern on it. I love the blue, the white with a little bit of gold. I like the shape. I think it's well worth it. I just love them. You know, not all things made in Japan have to be cheap looking. This terrarium footrest table. Not priced where I needed to be at 275. Not that I would necessarily want to ship it, but it was still cool to see. And of course, that mid-century tiger on top. Rar. We're just gonna look at. I There's another one. Bless him. Somebody stitched him up. He does have the straw filling in on him, so chances are he's like 1930s or earlier. He is priced at 350. That's a little aggressive. Um, just given the condition of him, even ones that are in better condition don't get up that high. So I think that's something to consider. We do have quite a bit of Empoli glass here, that beautiful optic pattern. Nobody does an optic pattern quite like Empoli. That huge brandy snifter was only 45. Good deal. Now, if you didn't know about these, let me tell you. Here we have the Cameo case. What I did not actually realize is that way back in the day, you would be able to get your photo taken, of course, on like a tintype, and you could purchase the case separately. Now, I am more than sure that you could go into a photography studio, buy it all at once. However, they were producing these as individual cases so you could switch out your photo. I found that to be really interesting. We've got some okay stuff. Oh, look at this. This beautiful, like sky blue, almost a Tiffany blue with that beautiful gold on it. We've got Noritake. I love that color combination. I think that's a beautiful, bright, springy. And then panning up. Dun, 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 dun. Creepy dolls. And the little girl here in the back. We're not going to make fun of her because I relate on a lot of days. Now, something had caught my eye on this shelf, and while I did catch it, this little spice tin here did catch my fancy, and I said it's going to be $45, and turns out I was right. It's $45. It's just such the average price on those. I do like the lids on these though. This is what I spotted. Oh, okay, we've got Bible looking glass. It is this beautiful tooled leather. Look at the gilding on the side, it's still intact. There is some roughness, of course, to the spine. Overall, really good antique condition, copyrighted 1874, as you saw. However, the price is a little steep, and I'm kind of wondering, is this going to be worth it? Religious items can be a difficult sell. However, given the condition of this, and as I'm about to show you, it is copiously illustrated with a variety of different engravings. Nearly every page has an illustration on it. This is almost a Curcio kind of book. How do we take the Bible and execute that in our real life? It's kind of like a how to live piously. And given the age of it, it's got some interesting subject matter as well as advice. So, given the overall condition, the illustrations, it's an interesting subject matter. It is a little steep. However, there is some good value on this. And again, it speaks to what you want to look for in a good antique book, right? Just like vintage, not every old book is going to command the same price. So keep that in mind when you're looking through the books. Be discerning. Um, always the best tip is to be discerning. Same vendor booth. This thing was peeking out, and then, ugh, oh no, her hair. Oh, honey. This is what I was going for. I've never seen an antique photo frame on well boning. I don't know what's going on. Is it missing a back? Is it meant to be mounted on a wall? It's priced at $85. So I decided we need to investigate this a little bit further. I'm loving the burgundy whalebone or corduroy, if you will. Yeah, I've never seen this material used before. The latch is still present. The latch is still fully functional. That green, that celluloid cover is in excellent condition. And then I couldn't figure out, I was like, how do I? You flip it down and then you flip it open, which really leads me to believe that this was to be a wall mounted piece. Um, it is filled. There is all but one page that does not have the photos. It's one of these 4 photo frames. Right there you go. Otherwise, it is completely filled with beautiful antique photos. I love the styling on the pages. The condition is just wonderful. I love that super saturated green. I think it is quite striking against that burgundy corduroy whale boning. Um, that cherry blossom, I almost left this behind. Thankfully, Richard talked some sense into my head and said, no, I think you need to get that. Sometimes it takes a little convincing, trying to be a bit frugal, still get things of quality. But when you're talking about the condition of this, that's really what is going to drive the price up. Yeah, we definitely go ahead and get this antique album. I love it. I think it's beautiful. It's so Victorian with that color palette on it. So definitely glad that we picked this piece up. Moving on, I did see some more light reflectors. These were a little bit pricier, so I did decide to go ahead and leave these ones behind. Below, we almost have like some putt style ornaments. So they're like cardboard or paper pulp. And these were interesting. They're still in their original box. It's only $24. Box has definitely seen its better day, but overall in pretty gosh darn good condition. So those were cool to see. Okay, this is a really good condition of just because it has a label doesn't make it valuable. These are Holt Howard. This is the Rooster Ware line. Holt Howard pieces typically they go for some crazy dollars depending on the piece, but just because it's Holt Howard doesn't make it as valuable. The Rooster collection is a great example. This booth here, obviously, we've got some vintage and some retro and a little bit of contemporary music in there. I did have the pleasure of meeting the vendor today, Matt. Matt, it was a great pleasure. Thank you for being so kind. I really do appreciate the support and much continued success to you and to your daughters. All right, there is a lot going on in this booth. It is going to be the last booth that we see for today. There is glass, there's kitsch, there's high end, there's low end, there's a little bit of everything. We're going to get in here, we're going to get up close, we're going to get real personal. We're going to get real personal. Fun to see. I didn't really spot anything that I quite frankly thought was going to be of great value. So again, that's just me looking at it from the reseller point, but I'm telling you what, it's impressive to see in real life. A lot of planters and I love this little baby one. He's absolutely adorable. He's priced at 29. Those big blue eyes. It's very stylized. I think it's quite charming. Kind of cupie style. Moving on over here into the glass, there's a great variety of different glass manufacturers. We've got contemporary Italian, we've got some Swedish. We do appear to have some Chinese glass, and that's okay. Again, if you find it beautiful and valuable, get it. This is interesting. This gorgeous Fostoria and this mossy green satin glass, Rebecca at the well. Now, unfortunately, there were some chips up here to her little yarn her yarn, her jug. My goodness, what kind of video is this? So I did decide to leave her behind, but I wanted to capture her on film. Kind of perusing through here. This was interesting. This gorgeous little green paperweight. I loved it. We've got Kerry Glass. I thought that it was quite charming. It says made in Ireland. I was like, oh, $18. Hey, that's not bad. I'm really digging the color palette. So what I did do is typed in the manufacturer's name into eBay, and interestingly enough, it pulled up this first one at $15. So I did have to leave that one behind. Oh. Gonna kind of pan through here a little bit more. I do like our little goose back here. The blue goose, it's pretty. I like the colors to it. And he is priced at $59. Subject matter is a little questionable, but I do like the color. Then I spot this. Oh, yes, I do. Turns out, you guys, this is in fact a Murano piece of glass. It is a birdie piece of Murano glass, and obviously the amber. I always thought these were a little bit more contemporary. They are vintage. It's got a great mid-century look. There are some air bubbles in it, but the overall styling, it is unique. And at $19, heck yeah. And our last shot before we wrap it up is some beautiful blue opalescent glass here. We do have, of course, some whole pottery down here. Love the color combination on this. It's pastelly, it's springy, it's fun, it's festive. It puts you in a good mood. We're going to wrap it up here on the amber glass. Pulled together, I think it's a beautiful look. Well, we typically would wrap it up outside, but I did record, well, I thought I recorded, but I didn't record the outro. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Let me know what your favorite find of the day was. And of course, guys, as always, keep it rusty, crusty, and dusty. Bye, guys.